Agile is not just a methodology, it's a mindset and approach to manage the projects and deliver the value efficiently. As the Agile Manifesto, created in 2001 by the software development leaders, introduced four core values and 12 guiding principles to promote the flexibility, collaboration, and continuous improvement in project management. Organizations that embrace Agile enhances the responsive and reduce the risks, also increase the customer satisfaction by prioritizing the iterative delivery and stakeholder collaboration. These principles apply beyond software development and now they're widely used in IT, construction, healthcare, finance, and government projects. And to recap on what were the four core values of Agile. The four core values of Agile shifts the focus from the rigid process to collaboration, adaptability, and delivering a value. To start with the first core value here, which is individuals and interactions over processes and tools. Individuals and interactions in Agile over the processes and tools in, let's say, waterfall or the predictive approach. So Agile prioritizes the teamwork, communication, and adaptability over the rigid procedures and tools that we have. Let's say studied heavily on the uh, the waterfall approach. If you recall, when we initiated the project, when we have planned the project, we estimated the cost as part of the planning. We estimated the schedule, set all of these baseline. We put all of the communication plan, the stakeholder plan, the engagement plan, the let's say the risk mitigation and the risk planning, the qualitative, the quantitative analysis for these risks, which was all about these processes when it comes to plan the project. Also, when we talked about execution and monitoring and controlling and finally closing, each of these project phases has an extensive around total of 49 key processes that we were discussing. So Agile prioritizes the teamwork, communication, adaptability over these rigid procedures. While tools are useful, effective collaboration drives the project success. Example, let's say a development team who's using the daily stand up as part of the Scrum ceremonies, utilizing the Scrum framework. By having this daily stand up meetings to align the priorities instead of relying slowly on the documentation. So they replace these daily stand up meeting with the slowly on documentation or on the documentation process. The next core value here is working software over a comprehensive documentation. Agile promotes early and continuous delivery instead of waiting for lengthy documentation to be completed. An example here may be a startup who was releasing an MVP, which is the minimum valuable product, quickly, gathering the user feedback and iterating based on real world use. The third core value here we have is customer collaboration over contract negotiation. And that means instead of strict contract terms and condition, Agile focuses on ongoing discussions with the stakeholders to refine the requirements. The fourth and the last core value here is responding to change over following a plan. And to understand that, let's say Agile teams embrace change as opportunity for improvement rather than just treating it as a disruption. And think of an e-commerce company here who is shifting their priorities based on customer feedback instead of just sticking to a predefined feature roadmap. Now let's start talking about the 12 Agile Manifesto principles. So now we've completed understanding core values. Now let's understand the let's say the 12 principles. So the 12 Agile principles provide a structured approach for agile teams to deliver value efficiently while maintaining the flexibility. These principles ensure continuous improvement, transparency, and customer satisfaction. Let's examine each of the principles with real world application and understand each of them. The first principle is early and continuous delivery, or satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery. This is the first principle we have in Agile Manifesto. Agile prioritizes the customer satisfaction by delivering working increments frequently instead of waiting for a final product. And to take an example here, whereas on a mobile banking application, the team releases a small feature updates every 2 weeks instead of just launching the full version after a year. By implementing these small features and these small releases, customers can get immediate value, and feedback helps to refine the future releases. The second principle, as per Agile Core Manifesto, welcoming change requirements even late in development. Traditional project management resists in the scope changes, while Agile embraces them to improve the project outcomes. So, in case that one of these requirements or one of these feedback loops or feedback were collected by, let's say, one of these stakeholders to implement a new feature that they felt that it might make, let's say, value to the end users. When it comes to the traditional approaches, we had to have this change control strict processes where change need to be, let's say, documented, and then it need to be assessed and evaluated based on its impact on the project constraints and risks as well. After that, you send it to the CCB or the change control board to approve it or reject it. Based on that, if it's approved, then you adjust all of the project plans from to account for all of these changes that it might be scope, in terms of cost and time, and let's say the other risks. So it was a full, let's say, cycle of change control that you had to follow. But when it comes to let's say to agile, agile embraces these changes to improve the project outcomes. And to have an example here, let's say there is a retail company who's developing an e-commerce platform, and by adding a new payment gateway which supports the med project after analyzing the user trends. So instead of resisting and not implementing these new payment gateway, and without understanding the user trends and feedback which was obtained by the marketing team, the agile team has adapted this change quickly and has resulted, let's say, an improvement in terms of customer retention, and it has improved the sales as well by making it easy to the customers to pay easily in seconds. The third agile principle, as part of the 12 manifesto, or is delivering a working software frequently. Frequent increment releases helps the teams to validate the assumption and gather feedback early. So, as I mentioned in the previous sessions, it's just not about delivering a set of features and then you surprise the stakeholder or the end users with these features without collecting the feedback. Sometimes these processes or these, let's say, features doesn't solve the real problem of the stakeholder or of the end user. So here it emphasizes the importance on having delivering a working software rather than just delivering a set of features that it might not be adopted by the user. So to take a real world example here, we have a cloud service provider who follows up by weekly sprints to release the new features instead of waiting a month for a major update or a major release. By following this, let's say, bi-weekly sprints, this keeps the software aligned with the market demands and ensures that the, let's say, the stakeholder concern, the stakeholder feedback is considered for the next releases. The fourth agile principle we have here is the business people and the developers must work together daily. Agile promotes the collaboration between the business stakeholders and development teams to ensure that the priorities aligns with the customer needs. It's not just about documenting all of the stakeholder needs and just giving it to the team and without having a silo or without having communication with these let's say development teams and stakeholders and customers. So with being living in silos, you won't be able to understand, let's say, the priorities of these customers, and being able to understand the value or the problem that they're trying to solve by implementing these features. So working together between the business people and the developers must, be in a daily basis, in a weekly basis. So in the traditional life cycle or the traditional approaches, there is no at all, let's say, a communication between the business sometimes and the developers. The only connection here is the project manager. But when it comes to agile embraces the collaboration between the business people and developers order to, let's say, to ensure that all of the priorities, all of the value of these features, all of the, let's say, the development effort goes aligns with the customer needs and stakeholders. And to talk about the fifth principle, which is fostering the team collaboration and sustainable work. This principle emphasizes the team collaboration, efficiency, and sustainable development. Also, the principle six, when face to face communication is most effective. We also have the seventh principle where working software is the primary measure of progress. Also, when we talked on the fourth principle where, or in the third principle where delivering a working software frequently. So, principle six here, face to face communication is the most effective, and we have principle seven is working software is the primary measure of progress. The eighth principle is maintaining a sustainable pace of continuous work. So this principle, again, as I mentioned, emphasizes the importance of having a team collaboration, efficiency, and sustained or sustainable development. Motivated teams produce better results, and that because the leader should empower the teams rather than just controlling them. When we talk about the fifth principle, we're building a project around motivated, let's say, individuals. So again, leaders should empower the team rather than just controlling them because they are motivated individuals. When it comes to face or video communication is critical. It reduces the miscommunication. Face to face always reduces the communication. When it comes to the seventh principle, when we're talking about the progress is measured by working in the deliverable, not just reports. The eighth principle, maintaining, let's say, a sustainable pace of continuous work, because teams should avoid the burnout by maintaining a sustainable, let's say, pace. Now let's understand the agile principles from 9 to 12, which is continuous improvement and simplicity. The ninth principle is about continuous attention to the technical excellence. The principle 10 is about the simplicity, which is the art of maximizing the work not done. The principle 11 here, which talks about self organizing teams to produce the best results. The final principle here, which is regularly reflecting and adjusting the behavior for improvement. So these principles reinforce the continuous improvement, simplicity, and adaptability. The key takeaways here when we're talking about all of these principles, the quality should not be compromised for speed. When we talk about continuous improvement is essential. When we talked about the 10th principle, which is simplicity ensures the efficiency to avoid the unnecessary work and waste. Next, when we talked about self-organizing teams who are, let's say, to produce the best results. So give the team decision-making power enable them to be self-organized. Finally, when we talked about the, let's say, the regular reflect and adjust the behavior for improvement, and in case that we haven't heard about the the retrospectives, so these regular retrospectives improve the team performance, and agile teams analyze the past performance and make improvement based on these retrospectives as part of the Scrum framework. And to summarize our session on the Agile Core Manifesto and core values, we looked also to the 12 principles. So, by understanding and implementing Agile values and principles, organization can enhance the efficiency, also improve the customer satisfaction, and foster the innovation. Agile is more than just a set of tools or just a simple core values or just principle. It's about a cultural shift that requires collaboration, flexibility, and commitment to continuous improvement. So organizations that embrace an agile mindset will thrive in dynamic and fast-paced industries. And by staying responsive to change and continuously delivering a value utilizing these agile, let's say, core values, principles, and frameworks.